they're bringing back Vine. Someone
What?
acquired.
What? What's up, everyone? Welcome to Firefox Hot Takes, where we fan the flames of internet culture. 3 trending topics, 2 POVs. I'm Steve Flavin, and I'm here with Hannah Bullion.
Hello, what's up? Happy Hot Takes Wednesday, wherever you're tuning in from.
Yeah, so here we are. Next week is literally Thanksgiving. 'Tis the season for streaming. I thought maybe we could kind of kick things off, keep things a little light in this episode. It's been a little bit of a light week in terms of tech news. What are you watching these days? I'm so curious.
I've been streaming a lot. I have a bunch of different options for whatever vibe I'm going for. The new TV show that I'm watching is I Love LA, the new Rachel Sennett TV show. It kind of reminds me of Girls, if you remember Lena Dunham's Girls. And like a lot of the other kind of like Gen Z TV shows that are out right now, where it's really cringe, but in a way where you're like, I can't tune away, and I feel like I relate to this in a little bit of, in a few different ways. But you almost don't want to like admit that you're relating to it too much. Have you ever seen Rachel Sennett in anything?
What else has she been in?
She was in Shiva Baby. She was
Oh,
in
yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with her. She was in Bodies,
Yeah.
wasn't she? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I know who you're talking.
And she was in that crazy movie about the kids that do like Fight Club in high school. It's like a lesbian film.
What was that? It's on the
It's on
tip
the
of my
tip of your tongue. I can
It's on
feel
the
it.
tip of my tongue. It's called Bottoms.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey.
I knew I'd pluck it out eventually.
Yeah. And you always do. So it's kind of similar to that, where it's like, yeah, these are like, this is definitely internet humor. Josh Hutcherson is in it. PETA
Ooh,
from Hunger Games,
okay.
who's kind of like my OG movie boyfriend. I love him. And it's just fun. I'm having a good time. I love when people my age are like making really cool TV shows and movies and just like content that feels good.
What's that streaming on?
It's streaming on Max, HBO Max.
Okay.
We now use both HBO and Max.
We've come full circle.
Yeah. And then because it's fall on the East Coast, I have Gilmore Girls on in the background.
Yeah.
You know, just like soundtrack to the season. And
Mhm.
then at night, for a nice wind down, which some people might think I'm insane for this, but I'm watching The Sopranos.
Okay. All right.
So Tony Soprano screaming at his friends and family is, you know, kind of like lulls me to sleep.
It's like comfort viewing. It's a classic show. I love
It
that.
is. And it's my first time watching it, and I'm like, wow, I really understand why everyone thinks that people from New Jersey are like this, because that is the media.
I mean, it's pretty cool. It was like, it was sort of, it marked a new era of TV where, it kind of had this prestige element, where it felt like each episode feels like a movie. And it really elevated the game for, everything after that. So I respect it. It's been a minute since I've watched the series. I don't think I ever watched the whole thing, honestly. So maybe I'm overdue for that. I started watching Pluribus on Apple TV.
I've been meaning to watch that.
It's from the creator of Breaking Bad, so
Yeah.
it's this next project, which is always exciting, and it's really good. I don't actually want to say a lot about it because I think it works best if you go in blind and just let it wash over you. But it's really well written, really. I mean, you could. There are a couple of allegorical interpretations that you can. It's sort of a sci-fi premise. It's a little bit Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but also like kind of a dark comedy angle. It's just really well done. I'm stoked for the next episode.
That is it. And is it coming out weekly episodes?
Yeah, every Friday.
Okay, I'm so glad that we're back to doing that. I know Netflix kind of like killed that for a while, but the weekly TV show drop is amazing. It's
It's a
life
nice
is worth
like
living.
feed, it's like a drip feed of
Yeah.
it's like you can keep up with it and then you're buzzing after it. I mean that's
Yeah.
still Netflix's MO, they like to drop the whole thing at once, or in the case of Stranger Things, which is coming up very shortly, literally on Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Which
keep thinking that that TV show has been released. Like, if you told me that the show is live and it's out and everyone's already watched the first half of the new season, the season finale, whatever.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of. They just had the premiere in LA, and
Yeah.
they actually released the first 5 minutes of the premiere episode.
Whoop-de-doo.
I know, right? Well, I watched it. I mean, of course, it's like the cold open before the credits, So
Sure.
it's, they did that with the last season too, and I'm a super fan, so of course I'm gonna eat all that up. Uh,
Okay, okay.
but what's kind of annoying, honestly, about the release schedule, it's on all of the major holidays, which it seems like their rationale is like they want you to sit and watch it with your family, I guess. I don't. My family doesn't really watch Stranger Things, so for me, it's like actually stressful. Where I'm like, well, of course,
Yeah,
I'm like 100% online. And people are going to be talking about it. There's going to be spoilers in my feed, and so it's like I'm feeling pressured to figure out when the hell I'm going to watch this, and then
right.
also spend time with my family. And so I guess I'm just gonna have to turn my phone off or like, not browse Instagram or whatever until like I have a chance
Yeah.
to sit down and watch it. But they're breaking it up into, I think there's three chunks. The first chunk comes out on Thanksgiving. The second chunk comes out on Christmas, and then the third, where the season finale, series finale, because it's the very last one, comes out on New Year's Eve. And so what's cool about that is they're actually releasing the series finale in theaters. And
Okay,
so
that's very fun.
I I really want to see it in theaters. Actually, it's only from what I understand, only on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Um, and then you're on your own. You can watch it
You're
on
on your own
Netflix.
trip.
But I think I could probably make time for it on New Year's Day. That's been a ritual the
Yeah,
last couple of years. Is like roll out of bed and go, watch something in the movie theater.
fun.
Um,
Perfect New Year's Day.
yeah.
I I would like Netflix to consider what if you just were normal and released 1 episode a week?
I mean, to be fair, it does differentiate them from the others.
Definitely does, but
I think that differentiation they like, but they have been experimenting with,
yeah,
in the case of their bigger tentpole ones like Wednesday, they like
yeah,
split two parts, and I don't know
that's
how I
true.
feel about that. I kind of, it's like either all or nothing. It's like I
Yeah,
either binge the whole thing or but I think that they're finding is a way of generating conversation in the same
yeah,
way that like drip feeding the episodes generates conversation.
yeah.
They're breaking up. They can build hype for the next part of the season, and it's a way of having their cake and eating it too. I guess they could still do the binge, but also, like draw it out a little longer.
Good for them, they're smart, and it's a great show, so I'm sure they could do whatever and it would be amazing, but I one thing I do love about Netflix is that I don't know if I don't know if they acquired both of them at the same time, but they were acquired the Paris theater and another theater in LA,
The
and
Egyptian.
the Egyptian, and so they release movies there,
Mhm.
and I think that while I kind of hate that they go direct to streaming after they're in theater, I love that Netflix gets to do these, like, higher production films and have them have a theatrical release, and also the Paris Theater is iconic, it's amazing, so
Mhm.
fun, it's in
Mhm.
town,
Yep.
and, I like that, I think that more streaming services should take a stake in, like, IRL film going and theater, and, A24 just did that, they acquired the Cherry Theater in New
Mhm.
York, and they're gonna do shows and Q&As and live shows,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
I'm happy that these, HBO Max open up a movie theater in my neighborhood.
You know what's interesting is that back in the golden era of Hollywood, movie studios owned movie theaters. And so if you're going to go
Right.
see a Paramount picture, you would go to a Paramount movie palace. And we've come full circle, and that's kind of happening again, which is interesting. I mean, Netflix has been rolling out like experiences all over. They just launched the Netflix house in, you mentioned you know where it is. Where is it?
It's in the Mall of Prussia? I
Okay.
think it's in a mall in King of Prussia, a combination of those words in a suburb outside of Philadelphia, um, which is like I think one thing about that that's super interesting, it's in a suburb, it's not like it's in, like, New York City, or it's not like it's in Philly proper, it's like in a suburb where a ton of people are going with their families, especially right now for holiday shopping. Like, they're really figuring out where to get the foot traffic, which also, not that I'm like, a business analyst, but then drives people to malls, which I'm sure, you know, are suffering as of late.
Yeah.
So, very interesting, very fun. I would go
Mhm.
to that.
Yeah, they're planning to roll out a number of those. They said up to 60 locations across the U.S., which seems wild to me. I saw a video walkthrough, and it actually looks like a little theme park, which is kind of cool.
I
So
mean, I kind of read that it was like this is kind of like Disney World.
a little bit, yeah, a little micro Disney World. I'm all about it. That back in the day when Disneyland first opened up, everyone thought that Walt Disney was crazy. So like maybe this is a way to it's they can't keep jacking up the subscription prices forever, so they have to find some other way to make money, I guess.
No, and
But if they can make it fun, I'm all about it.
me too. I like it. I like experimental stuff. Let me enjoy my favorite show in real life. Although I don't think I want to experience Sopranos live action.
Well, fortunately, that's HBO. So until we have the HBO house, we're safe from Tony Soprano.
HBO Max House Plus.
Yeah. So I guess we can't do our traditional "is it fire or is it tired" for this whole section because it's like multiple things that we just kind of talked about what we think is fire. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything was fire that we mentioned,
Yeah.
except
Uh,
for picking up prices, not fire.
Not fire, not fire. We talked about that already. Though. Well, speaking of Netflix, I just watched Frankenstein last night,
Hey,
which I
here's an
really enjoyed.
opinion.
Guillermo del Toro's version of it, which is also at the time that we're recording this is in theaters. Which I was going to see it. I was going to see a screening, and then I was like, you know what? Like, I don't feel like going out, and I can literally just like fire up Netflix and watch this on my couch. So that's what I did. Sorry, Guillermo. I know he really advocated for a theatrical release, but it was very nice and cozy to watch it at home, and it's a beautiful film, really well done, really
I
well
love
suited
that.
to his sensibilities as a filmmaker. He's been wanting to make a Frankenstein movie for decades, so it's really cool to see him like, I mean, completely off the chain. Honestly, like the budget for that film, like like it's on the screen, like it's a
Whoa.
pretty lavish production. It's is worth seeing, so
I mean, I
highly
saw Jacob Elordi in his
recommend.
hair and makeup, and I read that he was sat there for up to 12 hours some days and then would shoot for 10 hours and have just 22-hour days.
Yeah. Oh, he was
So
so good too. Really,
paid
really good
off,
performance.
paid off. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Something I wanted to bring up actually, now that we're talking about content, we can kind of segue into another topic that I've seen that's been trending recently, which are
Oh, yes.
micro dramas, like vertical micro dramas. Which I live in LA, and I work in various facets of the creative industries. A lot of friends who work in production. Hollywood productions have been leaving LA and shooting on location in other cities, but micro dramas have been kind of a lifeline for local crews, and it's been really interesting on the production side that's been a thing that's has been sustaining people. But curious what your POV is on that. I don't have a ton of knowledge or experience with them. I've seen them; they're interesting. As a filmmaker myself, I kind of love the idea of shooting something in a
Yeah.
vertical format that's intended for, like bite-sized consumption.
My most recent experience with these vertical dramas was uh actually a TikTok vertical drama. So it was
Okay.
on TikTok and it was like couple minute long clips. Everyone was obsessed with this actor, and I'm going to name drop him because I did remember his name. His name was Nick Schoenberg,
Okay.
and he was in this drama called My Brother's Best Friend, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, and I'm going to like really out myself as someone who just falls for any sort of like tacky rom-com. Um,
Okay.
but we were watching it, and by we, I mean the internet and my timeline, and we were all of the comments were like, why is this man like, actually an amazing actor? Like, this is not just, like, some kid they pulled off the street. This guy has the chops.
Mhm.
And, he went viral all over TikTok, and then everyone on X and Twitter was just talking about this guy, and everyone wanted to know more about him, and I was like I kinda fell for it. Look, and
Mm,
not that I fell for, like, something that was fake, I just kind of, like, was like, "Hey, I wanna know more about this," and it was kind of the first time I feel like it had gone viral in, like, this, like, more, mainstream way, at least for me on my timeline and in my FYP, and I found myself glued to my phone, like, in a real way, and then I
okay.
started noticing more and more people, like, on the subway watching these, like, vertical dramas on their phones on the
Mhm.
subway, and I, like, know that they are them because I'm like, it's vertical, it's not like their phone is like this, and it looks like a soap opera, and these, like, older ladies in Brighton Beach are, like, enjoying it on their commute into the city, and I'm like, "Wow, this is for the people. Cool."
Yeah, I love that. I respect it. That's so interesting. It reminds me. So we had a conversation heading into this episode about Quibi, which I feel like was maybe a little bit before its time. Everyone loves to roast Quibi, and it was somewhat of an embarrassing failure. But I kind of low key loved it when it came out. I was into
Great.
it. There was some good content on
There was good content. It was just not we weren't ready for it. We
that.
weren't ready.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that people objected to at the time was that you have to subscribe to it.
Yeah.
The idea that you would pay money like on par with a Netflix subscription for like little micro shorts
Yes.
rub people the wrong way. And I know a lot of screenwriters and people who are pitching content to other streamers, and the joke was at the time like, oh hey, well if Netflix is going to pick it up, you should pitch it to Quibi because they buy anything. So a lot of stuff that was being developed for other streamers was being adapted for that format. Um, which I think that probably the best content would be ideally you want to tailor it specifically for that content, which it sounds like these vertical micro dramas are intended very much for that purpose. But there were some good series on Quibi that I enjoyed. They were giving I will admit I didn't actually pay for a subscription because they did to like get people in the door. They did like a free trial. And it was like a month. It was like a 2 or 3 month trial or something, where it was like it felt a little bit desperate, if I'm being honest. But I there were at least a handful, at least three or maybe four series that I watched all the way through. But they were, I mean, essentially like the length of a movie. Like it's is about 2 hours split into
Right.
minute chunks. So it's in the taken in total. There was this series that I loved called When the Streetlights Go On. That was basically like Stranger Things meets 13 Reasons Why. It was like a teen drama. It's kind of a murder mystery. It takes place in the early 90s. Queen Latifah is in it. She's like the name actress, and then the rest of the cast were very talented, but I didn't recognize them from anything else. I'm sure they've gone on to do other things. But it was I remember the end being a little anticlimactic. Um,
Mm,
but it was really compelling and well done. And what's sad is that there's not really anywhere that you can watch it anymore. It's just kind of been memory hold, because I think Roku bought some of Quibi's library, but that series in particular, I haven't been able to
was
find
not.
anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know, justice for Quibi, because I think that if Quibi were to launch right now as an app, it would
Mhm,
do really, really well, especially if they invested the same amount that they did, which they invested a lot in
mhm.
those
Or they
programs.
find some way to make that the subscription more palatable, either like
Yes,
something that's like free and ad supported, like Tubi.
like Tubi.
Like maybe there's a subscription tier where you can remove the ads.
Yes.
But I think that for that kind of content, but at the same time, I've been reading about these micro dramas, and a lot of them are a little bit gamified,
Yeah.
like Candy Crush, where it's like in order to watch the rest of the series, it's like you have to pay. And I was reading an editorial that it's like actually if you add up, like if you do that for everything that you want to watch on there, it's like you're paying more than for a Netflix subscription.
Yes.
So I don't know. Like I guess the business model, they just needed to figure out the right
Yeah.
model.
Quibi was just too early to the game, and I genuinely think justice for Quibi. We sh
Mm,
we're not gonna come back, I don't think, but I did read, and I'm gonna actually pivot completely, not completely,
okay.
but I'm gonna make a pivot. I just read that can't remember who it is, but they're bringing back Vine. Someone
What?
acquired.
What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, should I actually search this to make sure I
Let's
have the
search
right?
it up. We're doing it in real time right now. Vine coming back? Question. Jack Dorsey funds Divine,
Yes.
a Vine reboot. Wow, hot off the press. You heard it here first. Maybe not. You probably didn't hear it here first, but especially
Maybe
the
some
second.
people.
Um, okay, so it sounds like Jack Dorsey is bringing back Vine
Fine.
from the dead, which
Apparently, with the acquisition, he bought like a full Vine library. So, like some of our
oh,
like favorite vines, we don't have to search
okay.
Vine compilation on YouTube anymore. So
Hashtag
I don't know.
um,
Maybe this time next year we'll have a Firefox Vine where we post 6-second clips of
wow.
Kit.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. I mean, talk about another app that was ahead of its time.
Yes.
It kind of portended this, like short form, um, trend that everyone's climbing over each other. I wonder. I'm very curious if like Vine had its moment, and now it's been so long that it's like now you're competing with TikTok, and like TikTok was
Yeah,
essentially the new Vine in a lot of ways.
that's so
Um,
true.
but I don't know. There maybe is an opportunity where, like we've talked a lot about, kind of the death of the old school internet, where everything is algorithmically driven now. If they can find a way to bring back that feeling of a chronological timeline where, people are posting stuff and it feels authentic and spontaneous. Because even TikTok now, it like felt like that for a while, but now it's
Now
you
the
know, like a
algorithm
lot of
is,
platforms is kind of descended into like influencerville.
yes,
Um,
TikTok Shop, Influencerville, and
mhm,
also my deepest, darkest fears because TikTok knows.
TikTok knows. So many of these companies know.
But
I mean,
I don't know. I think Jack Dorsey might be onto something with Divine,
mhm,
which funny name. Because our attention span is about 6 seconds. Many of us, including mine.
yeah.
So
I mean, a lot of these other ones have been increasing their time limit. The reason why, and I just know this as a content creator, is because it's like hard to monetize short form videos because the object is to keep you glued to the screen as long as possible. That's the very cynical way to look at it. It's the truth, right? So that's why like YouTube is still crushing it. TikTok, I mean, has a lot of engaged users, but they're finding that the calculus may not exactly make sense in terms
yeah.
of ROI.
Well, should we kick it back and do a little tired or fire for these vertical videos?
Yeah, I mean, so we just went all over the place. We started with micro dramas, then we talked about Quibi, and then we talked about Vine. So we've truly like
We kind
been
of like time
full
traveled
circled.
backwards.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about it. So I would say, yeah, vertical micro dramas. I don't know enough about them to give like a strong verdict, but would you say those are fire or would you say they're tired?
I say fire, let it rip.
I appreciate on the business side that it's bringing work back to LA. If this is the new normal where, production is going into digital content and, these vertical videos, so be it. Like everything evolves. I think that as long as it's sustainable and there's an audience for it, I'm all about it. Well, on that note, that is all the time we have for this episode. But let us know what you are streaming this holiday Thanksgiving week. We really want to know, so let us know in the comments. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe to our channel and be sure to download Firefox because you know it's the best. We'll see you next time.